Good afternoon, everyone. Am I audible to all of you? IDT, am I audible? Can you just...
Yes, Nida, you're audible.
Okay, great. So a warm welcome to all the participants. I, Nida Parkar, professor at Aegis School of Data Science, welcome you all to this meetup on AI and data science in insurance domain, organized by Aegis School of Data Science and powered by MUNI Campus and supported by Aegis Graham Bell Awards. We have Maharaja Institute of Technology as our academic partner for this event. I would like to extend my sincere thanks to Professor Prabodh Saidat for taking the initiative for engaging the students and faculties of this institute for this particular event. So a bit I would like to talk about Aegis from where we started. So basically Aegis is one of the leading institutes in offering the master's program into disruptive and exponential technologies like data science, AI, cybersecurity. So Aegis started its journey back in the year 2002 with the support of Bharti Airtel. The first master program was started then, and later we ventured into the various other institutes like data science, AI, and other technologies in the year 2015. So since then, Aegis has always been one of the leading technologies, taking initiatives with the leading industry partners for in this field of data science and AI. So most of us here know, and we can see that AI is the future. Everything around us revolves a little bit of AI and data science. Today in this meetup, you will understand in depth the implementation of AI and data science in the insurance a bit more in depth. So before we proceed for the meetup, I would like to tell the flow of the meetup. So we have the initial keynote sessions. We have 4 keynote sessions by our speakers, followed by 2 demonstrations from our AI and data science lab of Aegis. And later we have a panel discussion on the topic of the challenges and the opportunities in the insurance domain. So to begin with the event, I would like to call upon the founder of MUNI Campus, AI and Data Science, thought leader and speaker, Mr. Bhupesh Veheria, sir, for a keynote session. Over to you, sir. He has spoken to and interacted with more than 150,000 students in this particular field of AI and data science. So, Bhupesh, sir, over to you for the keynote session.
Thank you, Professor Nida. Thank you so much for warm welcome. And hello, everybody. Good afternoon, good evening, and good morning. It depends on which part of the world you are based in. I extend my heartily welcome to all of you for joining this meetup. And I could really see the overwhelming response from everybody, all the participants. And I hope we'll not be able to accommodate everybody. I'll recommend those who your friend that can really join this on the live on the YouTube. And IT team, please send the message to all the participants in waiting room so that they can join in the YouTube. Okay, fantastic. So let me share my presentation. Okay, so the topic of this meetup is data science and AI in insurance. And I think in isolation, all of these words are much familiar to you. So insurance is nothing new. Insurance goes as old as the human civilization. So Babylonians, roughly around close to 6,000 years back, they started using insurance instrument. And that time it was called bottomry contract. And what this contract was essentially, so any ship which is going for a voyage, the owner actually can really lend the money on this precondition that if the ship is lost in the sea, the owner need not really pay back the money, right? And the ship is mortgage. Now, so this is quite an old phenomena. Indians also use almost 600 BC. Greece used 4th century back, right? And modern evidence of insurance, you can really find the modern insurance has started roughly around in 14th century in Italy. Right? Again, the insurance equipment was to really safeguard the ships. Right now, the modern insurance is quite different. So this was the historical perspective. Let's take a say peak view. What could be the future of insurance? How the insurance would look like, say 20 years or 10 years down the line? How it would look like in 2050 or 2040? So imagine all of you. I would recommend start imagining that you are trying to really book a safari in Kenya, right? Or any other part in Africa. And let's say you have a driverless car, and driverless car is not of say Elon Musk. The driverless car is by some Chinese company, and your friend also have a Tesla, and both of you really book the flight ticket. And while you're booking your flight ticket or booking your entire travel plan, you will feed in all the details like how you will be traveling here to airport, or perhaps which flight you will take, right? So automatically, since this future connected world and today's partly connected world, in the future's connected, your data will be aggregated, and based on which vehicle you're driving, based on your past history, which airline you will be traveling, right, and which country you will be traveling, your insurance premium will automatically in the dynamic world will change. Imagine while traveling from say New Bombay to airport, and you had a part accident, and this is a driverless car, right? So immediately the company will fly out the drone, and because sensors will be giving the alert to the insurance company, the drone will come and drone will capture the photograph of your damaged car, right? And your car, since millions of sensors are already there in the car will automatically will do its own damage and will show you in the dashboard what is the condition, right? And drone will immediately will feed these pictures from the external body of your car to the insurance company, and automatically within a couple of minutes while you're sitting in the car, you will get to know whether your insurance claim is processed or not. Spot, and immediately a nearby say a service store will send their mechanic or will send some say backup car to you so that you can really drive down to airport. All those things looks like have the component to really make it reality exist in today's world. And which are those components? One of the major component is artificial intelligence. The other component is today we have a very powerful internet connection, and now with launch of 5G, we will be able to really offer absolutely low latency connectivity, which will be conducive for IoT devices, industry grade IoT automation. Now, so the components are already in existence. Let's see where we'll be moving into the future. But that's the future aspect. So today's agenda perhaps is to really talk about what are the current use cases in insurance and artificial intelligence, and what could be the possibilities in near future, if not in the long term. With this note, my name is Bhupesh Dharia. I will be walking you through I will be building up a background for you to really digest coming up keynotes. So I'll be taking very fundamental about insurance. What are the challenges? What is AI? What is data science? What are the technologies which are impacting insurtech industry? And then you will be meeting other experts from Elon or HGFC, Dr. Gangopadhyay, and then we'll have a panel discussion, and then we'll talk about the various other aspects. So insurance is inherently is about way through which you manage your risk, right? And during COVID, we have seen a lot of families, they lost their loved ones, and they lost their home too, right? And essentially, one of the major reasons was that they were not insured, right? So, of course, the life loss was also there, but they also lost their life saving, they also lost their properties, and there were horrific stories. And most of us are really aware about that. Ironically, in India, the penetration of the health insurance is quite low. Out of 100 people, only 3 people actually hold the life insurance. Now, so traditional insurance was there for ages. Now, what is changing this landscape? That just like a fintech, insurtech has also come into the picture. And insurtech is pretty simple. It's a basically legacy insurance service, which is combined with, say, exponential technologies, right? For a better delivery, for say better outreach to reduce down the cost, right? Better customer satisfaction, better customer segmentation, fast claims, right? So it is improving the efficiency in insurtech, in insurance industry, and we'll see a couple of examples. So let's see what is the, say, ground level realities. What is the fact about Indian insurance industry? So Indian insurance industry ranked roughly around 11th on the global insurance business. Our Prime Minister government has launched Ayushman Bharat insurance scheme, which is one of the largest insurance schemes across the world. The Indian insurance market stands around $131 billion. It grew with CAGR of 17% over last 2 decades. Insurance share about India in the global market is hardly 1.7%, roughly, right? And as I said, the penetration is pretty low. Hardly 3 people out of 100 people have the insurance policy. So even though we are 11th rank in the world, we are not, the adoption of insurance is not pretty high, and perhaps multiple reasons, which we'll be discussing. Right. What are the technologies impacting this new age insurtech companies? Mobile, blockchain, artificial intelligence, machine learning, data science, advanced analytics, IoT, drones, wearables, right? So today, all your health records are can be collected by wearable devices, and these data can be shared with insurance agency, and they can really dynamically change the pricing or a premium for you. And they can really tailor-made, customize the policy, depends on your need, your coverage. A robotic RPA, robotic process automation, is actually trying to really automate a lot of mundane tasks, repeated tasks. And this is reducing the manpower cost and eventually the cost to serve insurance policies to end customer. AR, VR, metaverse is also going to play a major role in terms of adoption, in terms of creation, awareness, in terms of, say, better customer experience. Since it deals with very sensitive data, which is health data, which is financial data, the regulator imposes a lot of security conditions on whether it is a fintech company or insurance company, traditional. Cloud has made possible for adoption of all these technology, be it blockchain or be it AI, data science. Cloud has cloud providers like AWS or GCP or say Amazon has powered millions of startups worldwide. Social has become a new platform for people to really interact, and this has also become a major platform for collecting data about individuals. It has become a major platform for, say, marketing and sales. So let's come down to how AI is changing. So AI is bringing seismic changes in the way insurance industry is being operated, right? And one of the major challenge with insurance industry is the affordability, right? And I think affordability and why these things are not affordable, because there are a lot of inherent inefficiencies are there, and perhaps that's the area where AI can really play a significant role, right from say product development, right from marketing to distribution, right to underwriting to claims management and faster. So let's also see. Let's spend some time understanding uh, what is AI, what is data science, and what is ML at say 20,000 feet view at a very conceptual level, and that will actually help you to understand and digest that how artificial intelligence, data science, and machine learning can really bring changes in various aspects of insurance. So what is artificial intelligence? Artificial intelligence is essentially trying to train machines so that they can really mimic human behavior. They can really mimic human intelligence. And one of the greatest example could be Google Map, right? So Google Map in a real time gives you the aggregated intelligence and data points of millions of people, those who are traveling on streets of Mumbai, and you trust more on the Google Map than the God while you're really driving down on the Mumbai streets. Right. So it is also one of the forms through which you can really aggregate the human intelligence at scale for the better decision making. Say in say vehicle insurance, a lot of companies they have started you collecting the telematic data, right? And there's a company Car IQ based in Pune, and this their device actually sits into your car and it starts collecting a lot of data. And when it collects the data, this also is collecting the data, how you're driving, what are the road conditions, right? Are you a rash driver or are you a conscious driver, right? And based on once you collect all these data, you can actually profile the customer, whether this customer is risky or not, or you can also uh, profile various geographies, whether these geographies are risky or not, whether Pune is much more risky place than the Bombay, right? And based on that, in future, you can perhaps can really decide and you can really customize insurance plan for each customer. Of course, that's a future possibility, but now we have a lot of devices. You have artificial intelligence to really, do that. The second piece, which is data science, a lot of people really talk and people generally get confused between AI, data science, machine learning, all those stuff. So data science is essentially basically making the sense out of the data, and it is similar to the traditional business analytics. The only difference is that data science is inherently find out make the sense out of the large data, right? The use cases might be similar. The end use case is same, but it really does the analytics at a large scale, and it also uses various AI techniques, which is like machine learning, which is deep learning, natural language processing for analyzing the text data. It uses computer vision, which is again subset of AI for analyzing any video or image data. And I'll show you a video wherein our student, they have built a model to detect damaged car, right? And that's where they have used the computer vision. So these are the part of, say, AI. So data science analyzes the structured and unstructured data at a large scale for taking actions. right? And these actions could be manual actions, or these could be the automated actions. And that's where data science also plays a significant role in terms of really building up a data product. And one of the greatest example of data product would be a recommender system, which all of us we use while we really make purchase on Amazon, or we watch movie on Netflix, or perhaps we really try to really watch any video on YouTube. Now, the next piece is machine learning, deep learning. So deep learning is subset of machine learning, and machine learning is essentially is a way through which you can really find the pattern, right? So let's say if you want to really predict what will be the rainfall, how much rainfall Mumbai will have, say, in the month of February, or say 2023 July, right? So you can really take the data of last 20 years, and based on that, you can really predict. So machine learning, one of the techniques of machine learning, supervised machine learning, actually consider the past historical data, and based on that, this really predicts. But there are a lot of cases wherein human mind is not able to really comprehend the pattern. Human mind is not able to comprehend the relationship between the output and the input, right? Cause and effect, right? And that's where the machine learning comes into the handy, because for not everything we have the rules, just like Newton has designed some formula, some rules for really calculating stuff, right? So when things are hazy, right? When the things are gray and you don't have the formal rule, you actually use machine learning to establish a rule between the input and output, and which essentially helps you to find the pattern, which essentially helps you to really predict. So these three things are of same bucket, right? So machine learning is a subset of AI, but data science uses both machine learning as well as the AI for finding the insight into the data. So that's a very brief on AI and machine learning, which will help you to really understand the future use cases and digest that what role they can really play. And you can really use your own imagination to create some use cases. Okay, so we have understood that what is AI in data science, right? And let's try to really understand that what are the challenges in insurance, and what are the perhaps use cases, improvement areas, right? So one of the major challenge in insurance in India is essentially low penetration, right? So in places like India, Bangladesh, or Sri Lanka, we have very low level of adoption and penetration, right? The Western world has a different problem. So they have a problem that the market is quite saturated. The penetration rate is pretty high, right? So almost everybody is holding the insurance scheme. So how you're going to really sell it to somebody else? Right? Now, so next is, let's say, high cost of distribution, right? So that's another issue. The another area issue is in insurance industry, specifically country like India, unaffordability, right? Not everybody can really afford the insurance, whether it is health insurance or other kind of insurance, a non-life insurance. Awareness is a major issue, right? How do we really create the awareness? Capital infusion is required because most of the public run, state run insurance companies are in bad, say, in a bad state, and which actually requires a heavy infusion of capital to really reestablish them, right? And it is capital intensive. This is a highly risky business, right? Fraud is a major issue in this area, right? And that's where the AI and machine learning can really play a significant role. And in fact, it started playing a significant role in detecting the fraud. Poor claim management, need for improving the customer experience, because India is not, we never had any experience in terms of really talking about taking care about the customer, right? Uh, the another improvement area perhaps could be is improving the efficiency, right? So once you improve the efficiency, automatically cost cuts down and it becomes affordable, right? So, and that's where AI can really play a significant role for improving efficiency, because AI can do a lot of stuff which humans can do, and there is a significant cost by the human, and there's a lot of other costs associated, which is by the inefficiency, right? So AI can really bring in a lot of efficiency into this field. Increasing safety and security of about the data, right? Enhancing the quality of services, improving decision making. So these are the challenges and improvement areas within insurance. So let's see a small video, right? Which will give you idea how AI can be used into insurance.
So first, user have to upload an image where a number plate is visible so that we can validate that this car is registered with an insurance company. So as you can see, that number plate has been detected and this is the number plate. Second step is we have to upload an image of a car where damage is visible. So here our image classification and image segmentation model will be working in backend. So as you can see in this output image that clearly a dent has been detected in the front. And you can see that car, it is validated, damage is validated, location is front and severity is severe. And this is our team.
So this is a team of students at Aegis. They have developed this car damage detective, which can essentially can be used by insurance companies. Now, areas AI can impact, continuation to my previous slide, of course, right from the product development to sales and marketing, right, customer segmentation. You can really use a lot of machine learning models, segmentation models to actually segment the customer. Customer lifetime value creation, claim processing, claim fraud detection, right? So you can really use data which is inside your server, and you can also take the external data, right? And you can build very powerful models to really identify the kind of frauds which are happening, right? So if you really see, you'll find the pattern in the kind of fraud. So you will see there are some geographic locations from where you're getting all of a sudden a massive number of claims, right? If you really further probe it down, you'll also see there are some say garage from where a lot of bills are being generated. You can also find the pattern that there is some insurance agent which is linked to issuing these policies, right? So once you really start looking at the data actually tells you a lot. The only problem is that humanly it becomes very difficult to really build up the at a scale, right? And that's where machine learning models, deep learning models, and AI and data science can really play a significant role in fraud detection, right? Uh, automated underwriting, right? So underwriting is a long process, right? Once you have all these kind of data, internal data and external data collated from multiple parties, and future, once you have the open data, you will have data access from the multiple parties, whether it is a health data, whether it is about your behavioral data, demographic data, your credit rating, right? The data which is coming from the police department, right? So in the future, you will have the open data from multiple parties, and you can really build the model. But still, in the limited data availability, what you have today, companies are successfully able to really do these things. KYC is one of the area where one of our team will show you how they have really done some work using AI and machine learning to do the KYC, right? automated inspection, and you have seen in this video automated inspection part, right? So there are hundreds of the areas within insurance which can be really improved and automated by the AI. This is my last slide, right? So these are a couple of companies which you can really search yourself, take a screenshot. And these companies are really doing wonderful work. And Data Science Wizard, in fact, is run by one of our students. Plantation Analytics, there our students are also working. So SafeTree, Fedo, Ersys, these companies are significantly using the power of machine learning and AI to improve the insurance delivery. With this, I express my thanks to all of you for being a wonderful audience and listening patiently. Right, so I hand over to Professor Nida to invite Dr. Gangopadhyay and take it forward. There are a couple of questions. Perhaps once Dr. Gangopadhyay finishes, right, because we started late, we'll address to these questions. Thank you. Thank you so much. Over to you, Professor Nida.
Thank you, Bhupesh sir, for that note and in-depth insight about how an insurance domain works and salient points taken on note. So now I would like to invite our next speaker, Dr. Abhijit Gangopadhyay sir, for the keynote session. He is the Dean, Aegis School of Data Science. He has been the founder and he's the founder and Dean at IIM Indore, former Dean at Tata Institute of Social Sciences, former professor at XLRI. So may I please request, sir, you to turn on your video and start with your session. Over to you, sir.
Is my video on?
Sir, your video is not turned on. May I please request you to turn on your video?
I've turned it, but it's not coming. Am I audible?
Yes,
You
sir,
are
you're
audible,
audible
sir.
to us.
So how to turn on my video? Tell me now. Correct.
Yes.
Yes. Very good afternoon, and my sincere apology for joining late. It was a wonderful way to attend Mr. Bhupesh in terms of application of AI, in terms of the insurance domain. I think domain is immaterial here. I think I'd like to tell you as a receiving, as I am in the receiving end, I always feel frustrated in terms of the inaccurate way in which the insurance sector is serving its end customer. And I think if you look at the bottom of the pyramid, I am at the bottom of the pyramid as a customer. I find often that it is very, very ridiculous not to use the advanced technology for managing insurance. Insurance sector is basically a very badly managed sector in our country. First of all, we are, as a nation, we are hardly insurance sensitive. Partly it is because our awareness about the risk management is also very limited. And you have seen the wide applications of AI in terms of doing things. I will like to tell you, basically, insurance sector is primarily, I think just like our, be it a life insurance, be it a health insurance, actually the customers are often a suspect. Because if I go with a claim, they know how to market the insurance product, but they don't know how to resolve the problem of the customer. And I think basically in their mind, it is always an important thing. If I talk about a lack of technological insights of the insurance domain, what is happening, they will always take its own time, and which is often very frustrating. So 40%, I think the people, CEO, I think of insurance domain, they are actually very sensitive because their business is essentially linked with the type of customer satisfaction. And they say that they always found that the customers are very, very aggrieved. And the way the growth should have taken place in our country, I think we are in a nation which is second in terms of population, second in terms of growth in every sectorial, in spite of mild recession or depression, as you call. But we are not growing that much. It is primarily because the focus of, I think, basically who are insurance sectors is suffering from lack of acumen in terms of technology. And when I say the why it is, because the people don't find it useful. You see, every time a patient is admitted in a hospital for settling the claim, he is really very uncertain because it takes a long process. And one of the objectives of the AI interface with the insurance domain is to make it very simplistic. In other way, that will take a very less time in terms of settling case. Because, and I think probably the use of what Mr. Bhupesh was discussing about it, I could partly listen to it. It is primarily because it gives you a very misleading instances where the people develop their trust. And if I take it, there is an Ernst & Young has developed a very interesting model of AI-driven insurance domain, and they found that you see 69% of the auto insurance. I think it's a very complicated issue. Most of the time, the claims are delayed because of the way the insurance products are processed, and the claim I think that's ultimately it has to be done. Without they start not getting. The moment you have proper algorithms and insight in terms of the everything, because it's wonderful to see that when one goes anywhere in the world, the way the travel insurance products are processed, immediately you get it. Because if you are admitted in hospital and the way it has been captured by deep learning and other technological interface, so you get in, there's hardly any chance of any fraud. And I think that is exactly because we conventionally we are a nation which we have never adhered to the risk management updating. Now, earlier risk management was essentially a very reactive process. But today, the insurance sector has to uphold a proactive process. And that proactive process will be possible only when you interface with this artificial intelligence. Because essentially what we are doing, it will reduce the processing time. So digital-based customers and experience with technology, enhanced product lines are the major paradigm of the insurance sector's priorities. Now, if I conclude, probably I will not be able to, I won't like to engage you further because there are a lot of delay in terms of our program. Insurance is based on usage, if we today think, and the usage will be enhanced only when you make the AI interface possible. Methodological underwriting, which is major problem with the insurance domain, and it has to have a very deep algorithm-based formidable approach, and that is only possible when you integrate. It is humanly impossible to process such data, and probably it will give you everything which will not be practicable. Now, minimization of fraud. I think one of the most promising features of AI-driven intelligence domain that the fraudulent transactions will not be possible. As we have seen today, majority cases, I think, so if I today talk about tax revenue or other things, I think frauds are almost impossible, because everything is getting captured. And therefore, if insurance is also automatized, and what will happen, it will be able to process it very faster, and it will enhance. I think last word in terms of the insurance domain's artificial intelligence is the trust tactics. That is what exactly we argued in today's world, that if I can create a trust Because we often get frustrated when we see that how much I'm being benefited in terms of the insurance possibilities. And this is true for all sectors of insurance. It is true for health sector. It is true for motor vehicle sectors. It is true for life insurance sector. All these sectors are suffering from lack of penetration, although progressively it is being done. And today, if you look at the profile of the customers in this country, AI is an inevitable necessity, because today most of the customers, those who are trying to get everything online, they take the policy online, they would like to settle the claim online, and it is a maximum digitalization which has already taken place. And I think probably it is at your finger tip. And therefore, I think we close. I think I would like to say that this is a very appropriate way in which Aegis have organized this this seminar or discussions in terms of making artificial intelligence driven insurance domain. And I hope I'll be there. And I think I wish you a very good brainstorming, because all the professionals are coming subsequently, and I think I don't want to take their time, but it is a wonderful opportunity to meet all of you. I personally thank you for coming. I had a problem in terms of my technology. I don't know why I was not able to log in, but I have a best wishes for you. Thank you. Thank you, Mrs. Patkar. Over to Mrs. Patkar. Nida, you are there?
Yes, sir. Thank you. Yes, sir. Thank you, sir, for the wonderful session. I believe the participants have certainly gained benefit from this. Participants will be taking up your questions after the keynote sessions. So you can pose the questions in the chat room, and then we'll definitely take up your questions after the keynote sessions are done. So one of the important use cases in the insurance domain is fraud detection and prevention, and it may cause heavy losses if not taken care of. To understand this in more depth, I would like to welcome our next speaker, Mr. Sandeep Kushwaha, Senior VP and Head of Analytics at Aegon, to talk about the real-time fraud detection and issuance of insurance without any document or medical or disruption driven by analytics and AI. Over to you, Mr. Sandeep.
Thank you so much, Nita. I hope that I am audible.
Yes, you are audible.
Okay, that's great. Thanks for having me today. And I'm sorry for the host wise. I'm not feeling well today, but I wanted to make it. But it's good that we all are able to start now. So without further delay, I'll just put few slides on the screen and directly come to the topic. Let me know when you all are able to see my screen. I hope that this is visible.
Yes, it's visible.
Oh, that's great. So just to talk about myself, so currently I am heading analytics and AI for Aegon Life. And before moving to Aegon India business, I was part of Aegon Global Center of Excellence based out of Netherlands. And there I have got opportunity to drive innovation, data, analytics, AI for multiple countries of Aegon. What Aegon is, so we are India's Digital India life insurance company, and we are part of Aegon Group. And it's like Aegon Group is more than 180 years old group. We are present in multiple countries across the globe, and approximately 30,000 employees all over the world, with approximately 30 million customers. And in India, we have been here for quite some time, and we are doing quite good business here in India. Talking about, Dr. Abhijit mentioned about claim settlement, etc. So let me share that I'm very happy to share that in Aegon, the customer comes first, and we have settled for more than 99% claims. Now, Bhupendra also talked about the future of insurance and some of the challenges which are currently faced in the insurance industry. Since I am very close to the business, I can also talk about the reality and how in Aegon we are driving innovation to solve this kind of challenges. Before I jump to how we are automatically detecting fraud in real time and taking the automated underwriting decision. The deep dive on this particular use case. I wanted to take a minute to talk about what is AI, because Bhupen explained in a very beautiful words that AI is a combination of machine learning, deep learning, many other things. I want to actually simplify this and just use one particular word which will actually simplify AI. Before I jump into that, let's talk about how as a human being we have evolved over the period of time. So as we have evolved in thousands of years, we have developed two abilities mainly. One is physical ability, which is like a cutting a tree. This was replaced by industrial evolution. So we had machine, now this machine can cut that particular tree. The second ability, which as a human that we have developed in last thousands of years, that's the cognitive ability. That is the ability to think. That in this particular example would be that which tree to be cut, which is our emotions, desire, intuition, decision, this kind of things, which a mechanical machine cannot do. Even a computer as well that we had designed earlier, a computer also works on a set of rules. Those computers in the early ages cannot think. We have to make them think. We have to put some kind of rules, and that computer would operate as per that rule. AI is nothing but is the replacement of cognitive ability. It has ability to think. So some of the decisions which are being taken by algorithm, which is inbuilt in our human brain, or the neurons calculates all kind of probability, and then the quick calculation is done, whether to go out in the evening or not, whether to catch that particular show or not. All those decisions as a human being that we take based on the inbuilt cognitive ability, which has enabled to actually think, that cognitive ability is being replaced by AI. Now, talking about this particular use case, let me share how the insurance industry is currently operating, not here in India, but all over the world. And I would also echo the challenges with Dr. Vijit and Bhupender talked about, that we are having a long proposal form, and it takes sometimes the customer has to go through bad experience. There are fraud, there are high cost of distribution, etc. So I have picked one particular case, that is the cost of distribution and the process to get a life insurance policy. What exactly happens when it comes to as an industry, how the industry is actually working, that the customer has to fill a very long proposal form. Take any example, pick the top life insurance company in India, go to their website, try to buy life insurance online. You will be able to see the long proposal form that we all have to fill. Once the proposal form is filled, then we all ask for multiple documents. It can be, if it's not a physical copy, because now the world has moved towards digital, but the documents has to be submitted. It would be via email, PDF upload. It would be PAN card, Aadhaar card, address proof, photo, income proof, previous insurance documents, etc. Then once the documents are submitted after multiple iteration, after days, then there would be a video call, telephonic call by underwriters or by doctors. And after that, that customer was to have to go for physical medical test. The entire process, as we all, I'm sure that many of us would have already bought a life insurance and would have gone through this kind of experience. And the entire process, it takes up to 3 to 6 weeks of time. In Aegon, with using data analytics AI, we have completely disrupted it. Bhupender talked about future of insurance on the connected world, acquiring external data and then taking decision using algorithm. We are already doing that bit. So future is already here. What we are doing here is a very short proposal form. Our proposal form is approximately 20%, 30% of the length the other life insurance companies have. We are not asking for any documents. It's a zero document. I mean zero. No Aadhaar card, no PAN card, no income proof. For most of the customers, we do not need even a single document. The customers would not have to go through for any video call, telephonic call, no physical medical test, and the policy can be issued instantly on the spot. For selected cases, in any kind of adversity has been declared by customer, we have our own engines in place. For a selected case, the customer may go for a video medical call or for a physical medical test. But for many of the customer, just by a short proposal form, without any document, without any medical, we are issuing policy on the spot. So this is not 10 year, 15 year down the line. This is already happening. Now, how we have done this? Everything this has been possible only with the help of analytics AI. So as I mentioned, that in a traditional world, the customer fills a long proposal form, upload multiple documents, submit fiscal documents. Then there would be manual underwriting, verification, document, etc. The entire process takes around 15 to 45 days, sometimes more time. The decisions are actually subjective. As an underwriter, one person may feel like one particular profile is good, but the another underwriter may take some subjective decisions. So basically, decisions vary from one person to other, and this model is not scalable. If you are getting 1,500, 2,000 policies in a month, so team size would be done. But from next month onwards, if you have started getting 4-time volume, then this team can't be scaled in a month. And we have to update multiple system. Somebody would enter in a particular ledger in some particular document, then somebody would be entering in some other system. So at the same time, there would be connected word that if you enter in a one particular area, then that particular entry would get updated everywhere. Here in Aegon, we have, with the help of AI, we have ability to take the real-time underwriting decision. As I mentioned that this is not a process automation. This is not a rule-based engine. We are not saying that in case the age is less than this or that happens, then to issue policy or to reject policy. This engine can think, and this engine can subjectively evaluate a customer profile and can take the instant decision. We just need the customer basic details, simple questionnaires, no documents upload, no medical, no manual intervention at all. The machine can take the decision on the spot and it can issue policy. And this is scalable. If I am getting, for example, 5,000 policies today, I can underwrite, because here the underwriting is not done by a team of manual underwriting team or the operation team. There is a Python program, there is a code, there is an algorithm, a cluster of algorithms. That algorithm is doing underwriting. Even if I get 50,000 policy or 1 million policies, it's a serverless architecture which can be scaled automatically. Irrespective of the volume that we get, it can automatically scale. What I'm talking about, this is not future. This is we have already built. This is already live. I'm sure that you all are having many questions on this, so I'll be very happy to take those questions. I'm not sure how much time that I am left with, but I'll be a bit quick so that we all are able to close it on time. This is a traditional, like if you go to any particular life insurance company or the top life insurance company in India, try to buy life insurance, this is the kind of journey that you would be seeing. The multiple pages, long pages, then you would be asked to keep the documents handy, some kind of premium would be shown, then the long list of proposal form, document, etc. This will come here. So, but as I mentioned, that what we have developed, it's an AI-driven digital customer journey, which can identify fraud in real time, and it can also take automated underwriting decision. Our fraud detection algorithm is so accurate that since the time that we went live using this algorithm, we haven't got even a single fraud customer. How we are doing it now? It's a very simple journey. You start with a basic detail. You will get a code. We just be needing your PAN card number. Some of the details that we would already be able to fetch from the government data sources, we would be able to get those details. We just need some more details from you, some lifestyle questions, nominee details, etc. And then you have to upload a video for about 15 seconds. What happens while the customer is filling this kind of journey? So what you're seeing here, this is the actually customer journey. Very short, very simple journey. But what exactly happens when I mentioned that the automated fraud detection, automated underwriting, real-time underwriting decision, what exactly is happening? As customer is filling journey, there are algorithms. These are machine learning algorithms which runs at each and every steps. They become ready with the decisions as the customer goes along. So it's a cluster of algorithms which runs, and by the time customer completes journey here, algorithms are ready with their decisions. Either it can instantly issue policy or it can instantly reject. In case any kind of fraudster come, then it can instantly reject. For a selected customer, they may go for video medical call, physical medical test as well. Now I'm sure that all of you would be having this kind of questions, that if you are not asking any kind of document, if you're not asking for a customer to go for a physical medical test, etc., is this the dilution of underwriting? What exactly is happening? How exactly we are doing this thing? So this is on how. What we are doing, that based on the basic detail of that customer, we are scanning the entire digital world, all kind of digital footprint this customer has left. And from the government trusted sources, the authentic government sources for which we are authorized to get the data, that digital footprint would come to us in real time. The customer is actually filling journey. The customer has not completed its journey. We already have the enriched profile of that customer. Thousands of attributes about that customer would come. And then what customer is doing during that particular journey. Click stream data, whether it's taking too long to fill a journey, too short time, whether it's hovering between a particular decision, that whether he had a disease earlier, he's marking it yes, then he's marking it no, again going back to yes. So all kind of things, it gets captured. And then multiple AI algorithms, as a customer is progressing and completing journey, this AI algorithms runs. And as the customer submits his proposal form, our engine is ready with digital KYC, financial underwriting, what this customer has asked for, whether we can approve that particular sum assured or not. If not, then what sum assured can be approved. It would be ready with the fraud decision, whether it's a genuine customer or a fraud customer, or whether we can issue policy on the basis of his health or not. By the time, it's just the instant decision. So what we talked about, that is not the dilution of underwriting. It's the underwriting using AI engine based on innovative methods, technology. So it's the alternate data, the data points, some of the example which Bhupender talked about, and that in future we would be getting this kind of data, and then we can develop this kind of algorithms. We have already built that. We are far ahead in the market. As the data sources start getting more and more structured, we would strengthen our engine, but we have already made a very significant progress in this line. So one is alternate data, another is click stream data. The entire what customer is doing during this journey is behavioral science. How we have a team of psychologists here. So basically how genuine customer thinks, how fraudster thinks, how fraudster fills a proposal form, how a genuine customer fills a proposal form. So on the basis of behavioral science, algorithm has also been trained. Then wise analytics. So as I mentioned that during this journey, we are also taking video of that customer. So what customer is actually saying, his pitch, his tone, we are detecting in real time whether customer is alive. We are doing video KYC on the spot, all that video analytics, where customer is actually seeing on the screen, how his eye movement looks like, the entire facial expressions. Based on his face, we can extract his breathing rate, we can extract his actually heartbeat. So all those vital signs based on this selfie video. And then natural language processing, what customer is saying during that particular video. He is asked to do a couple of things. So based on that, the NLP would run. Then of course, all the hundreds of thousands of data points that we have done, the algorithm has been trained, the deep learning algorithms run on the top of this. Then the entire architecture, it's a API driven architecture because we partner with multiple companies. So it's just a plug and play API. Within few hours, this engine can be integrated with any distributor. So this challenge which was mentioned earlier, that cost of distribution here, that challenge has been solved in a very significant way now, because it is just the API driven algorithm driven underwriting which can be integrated with any partner within couple of hours. IoT. So we are not at live with the IoT. Significant progress has been made, but very soon we would be going live with this as well. So basically all our physical activities, movement data, so that those data using wearable devices would get captured. As customer starts maintaining or improving his health lifestyle, there are chances that in the next year, the premium can be waived off. Sorry, the premium, there can be some kind of discount in the premium next year. So we can do dynamic pricing, the kind of use case which was also mentioned earlier. So good progress has been made in this area as well. So everything has been combined in form of this particular AI engine, and this AI engine is enabling us to detect fraud and issue policy, do automated underwriting and issue policy in real time. With this, I would pause, and I'll be very happy to take any question if there's anyone. Thank you.
Participants, you can post your questions in the chat box. So we can take the questions later after another session, if you're okay with that. Participants, do we have any questions? You can post it in the chat box. We'll address to your questions once we are done. Or if there is any question now, definitely we can take up that question. All right. So thank you, Mr. Sandeep, for taking us to the journey of issuance of the insurance using various machine learning, deep learning, and NLP technologies, and also the fraud detection that you're doing, and the entire process that you have explained. Definitely, it has given us the insight of how AI and data science is changing the face of the insurance industry. I would like to now call upon Ms. Sonal Mudaliar, DVP, Advanced Customer Analytics and Data Science, HDFC Bank, for the next keynote session on maximize value with the modern data and analytics strategy, analytical interventions to drive general insurance business. So, Ms. Sonal, if you can take over, I would like you to take over the session.
Hi, good afternoon. Can you hear me?
Yes, you are absolutely audible.
Yeah, hello, good afternoon, everyone. I'll just present my screen if you can tell me whether you can see it. Is this visible?
Yes, it is visible.
All right. So we'll start off with the session. Good afternoon, everyone, and welcome to the session today. You're listening to Sonal Mudaliar. I'm sorry, my video is not on because I have not got a very good background on at the moment. So on this session, we will be talking about how data and analytics strategies are helping maximize value. While Sandeep has actually given a lot of overview about how it works in the insurance side, in the company side, what I would be taking you through or walking you all through is about how exactly we are doing it at the bank's end. A small introduction about me. I am been with HDFC Bank for the past 15 years now. When I joined this team, we were a small 20-member team of data scientists. And as of today, when we stand, we are actually having a 70-member team of data scientists working on various use cases and innovations that is helping drive business for the bank. How are we doing this? Most of it is something, a little glimpse of it is what I will give on one of the use cases on insurance. But the belief in data science and analytics has actually increased the potential of us being able to grow from a 20-member team to a 70-member team. If I have to quickly summarize the work that we do as data scientists in the bank, is actually what we're trying to do is we're actually making computers think more like humans and less like machines. So just putting faces to the data scientists, I'm just moving on here. This is a small team of, I think most of them are not there, but yeah, this is the team of data scientists that we have at the bank. How do we identify data scientists? What is the background? Just most of us are statisticians or economics, mathematics background and engineering. We don't shy away from management students as far as we know that they have a business background and they have value add to it. We do accept management students as well as data scientists in the bank. We focus more on hard skills. We need to definitely be very conceptual on the statistics, that process, etc. has to be very clear. Soft skills are a definite requirement while we are hiring data scientists here, the logical and structured process. And also the data scientists in the bank don't really look at one aspect. They start off from identifying the business problem. How are they actually solving it using ML algorithms? How are they creating these? Is all designed by the data scientists. It is moved to the production by data scientists. The entire conceptualization is done by the data scientist here. And then it moves to production, and the value driven out of the solution is also evaluated by the data scientist. So he's end-to-end, or she's end-to-end responsible for the entire solution that goes on to ground. So when we look at the team as such, the reason why we're growing is because of the value that we've been able to put in the books. So the bank has been awarded for most of the solutions that we do. We've got the Data Science Awards for Cypher 2017, 18, 19. We've also been one of the nominees for EFMA. EFMA is the European Financial Management Association. It was in association with Accenture in 2021. We were one of the nominees. In fact, it is an honor to be the only Indian entry to be amongst the 115 nominations globally, which won the award. We also been awarded in 2021 as the IMC's Digital Technology Awards for emerging technology in customer centricity and recommendation advisors. Moving on, just a brief responsibility. If I have to look at what the data scientists actually do in the bank on a day-to-day basis. So we start the key priorities. If you look at the image on the left-hand side, the major task where they really have to ensure to be a strong hold is on the exploration piece, where they're actually exploring data. Your feature engineering piece has to be very strong. And the machine learning, the algorithms that you're working on, the classification, the regression, machine learning algorithms, the math behind it has to be extremely strong. And definitely the model, once you have identified the validation, the testing, etc., is done at the data scientist end. So when we look at these pieces, these are, without this, the data scientist, the journey would be very difficult if you do not have these kind of qualities in the data scientist. But while the others may not really be mandatory, but this is something that we would not want to look at without having these qualities. The major role of the data scientist, like I explained, is not only looking at models specifically, they integrate between business and how the value is driven out of the entire business is what the data scientist does at the bank right now. The role of the data scientist is aligned to the marketing function. So we really look at the need of a customer. We also have another team of data scientists looking at the risk aspects, where we say whether there is a potential of the customer, whether we can lend him so much, whether he is good as a customer to lend, whether we can risk this customer. So there's a risk analytics team, which is separately built. They have another set of, I think, around 100 data scientists working there. So we believe in the field, and definitely the bank is taking value out of this entire field. Moving on specifically to the analytical interventions for general insurance. When it comes to general insurance, it is not specific to general insurance, but all the product cross-selling that we do is done in the similar fashion. But specific to general insurance, it is important because general insurance, if you ask me, everybody is in need of insurance right now. So identifying who is the customer that I should actually focus on is where the task of the data scientist comes in. Who actually wants a home insurance versus who wants health insurance versus who wants a vehicle. All of these aspects is something that the modeling exercises, the predictive solutions that we do is done at the background. So I'll quickly take you through a few of the use cases for you to understand how this is done at the back end. I hope I'm audible. If I could get a confirmation from someone.
Yes, you're audible.
Great. So the analytical interventions that we do to drive insurance business are actually done into three different aspects. First is the right need identification, as in who is likely to get this insurance service from me. So when we have a book size of around 70 million customers, it is very and the need is across all of them. It's very difficult for us to have a generalized model. So we look at a machine learning based propensity model separate for each of these insurances. So we have a model which predicts who will look at health insurance, who will look at motor, who would probably want a travel insurance, a home insurance. This is one of the aspects of identifying or using a machine learning to understand the customer. Apart from this, we also look at behavioral segments. A segment basically would mean based on the life event that is going on at the moment, he may not be a propensity customer to me, but he may show some signs of buying a home right now. So definitely we need to bundle it with an insurance, or we see some indications of him going foreign, so we bundle it with a foreign travel insurance. So all of these indicators overlay the propensity model as well. And similarly, the life event-based sequence model, which I will walk you through once we go to that slide. The second part of it is, okay, this person really needs it, but how much do I really offer him, whether he will be able to afford it? What is his affluence? Where does he actually stay? What is his geographical presence? All of these are actually looked at while we build the approval state. And all of this information is passed on to our the insurance provider to give him an approval amount. We further look at this is about identifying a new customer. So even if there is a customer who's existing in the system, whether he is rightly insured, as in if I have an insurance worth of X amount, whether based on my lifestyle, based on what do I really feel that this is the right insurance for me? There is a model, a separate algorithm which runs in to identify the accurate insurance that has to be provided to the consumer. And the third piece of this would be if a customer has already gone to competition, how do I intervene and get him back to business with the bank and the service providers? Moving on, while I'm going ahead and discussing about the insurance business and the data science aspects, I would want you to look into this image and probably let me know if do we have an option to unmute participants, or just think of it 10 seconds as to what this image would be. I don't know, I think I moved the slide, sorry. So the image that I showed you earlier was basically the smallest sculpture which was ever made by human hand. And this was done by Vegan. The sculpturist who's done this is done by his beard. Why am I showing you this? Is the detailing or the accuracy that he needs, the focus that he needs to create this particular sculpture is tremendous. If you see the middle image here, it is actually, he has sculpted 9 camels within a needle. So when asked how does he do it, the focus required there is tremendous. He actually does it when his heartbeat stops. So when he's sculpting something and his heart stops beating is when he starts pushing pieces inside the sculpture. So that is a detailing that he's actually doing at his end to come into this entire, the beautiful piece of sculpture that he's done. The reason why I'm talking about this particular story is when it comes to data science and modeling, the creation process, the process of identifying the customer, process of doing the algorithm is a very tedious process. You're constantly thinking, innovating, coming up with new and fresh ideas, engaging with business. That moment, that the process is not very pleasing. Similar to what Wigan actually says in his interviews, that when he's creating these sculptures, he's not in a very, it's not very easy for him to do it. It is the most difficult part of it. But what gives him joy is when he's actually, I'm sorry, I'm not able to, when he's actually looking at people's faces, when they actually come back to and view his work in the microscope and the way it has done. What gives us the satisfaction as data scientists is when we actually do this entire process of creating the model. People don't see the effort which goes behind it, but when they come back from business, come back and says that data scientists have actually contributed almost 75 to 80% of the businesses from the identified base that you've actually worked on, is when we get pleasure as data scientists, when we are looking at the work that we've done and we're presenting it to them and the effect that we've actually seen. So the tedious process that like he has to work is what we call as feature engineering and data exploration. So moving on to what we're actually doing at the back end to create these algorithms, to create these machine learning models is not an easy task. It requires a lot of effort from the data scientist end to look at a lot of aspects. I think this is mostly covered in the past, but I would like to detail it out to give you an understanding of what efforts are going in. So when we look at a customer, it's not looked at as a silo. We don't just look at his balance maintained in the account and say, okay, he has 10,000 balance, so he is a customer for me. He's not a very good customer. We have a lot of other aspects that we look at to understand the value that the customer brings to the bank. We look at a lot of, we in fact have an income estimation model which is run in the bank, which talks about the potential the customer has. He may be holding a balance of 10,000, but he actually shops at a specific, at affluent society, affluent areas. He's actually holding a home loan for say 3 crores. So looking at all these values, looking at all these aspects, we create a model to understand what is the potential of the customer. So giving you a small overview of what these features are, we are splitting into two different aspects. One is the profile of the customer and the affordability attributes. When I say profile, we are talking about his age, gender, the occupation, the designation. So he could be a CXO, CMO, CEO somewhere. Maybe he's not banking with me, he's banking with the other banks. So we know that because he's got his designation, he should ideally have X amount of balance. So when you look at the industry type, we look at what kind of residence he is owning right now. What is he? Where does he reside? What kind of city, the PIN code, where does he stay? We also understand the overall worth and the balance parameters. So we have something called as the fixed income to obligation ratio. So for example, if I've been earning an X amount, but I have an obligation of more than what I earn, so those are the customers who we look at for loans, etc. For people who are actually affluent enough, whether they are having, they're heavily insured, do they have enough insurance, etc. All of these aspects are looked into. The product holding, what kind of products he's holding with me. All of this goes as inputs to the parameter. So when we make models right now, when we started initially with feature engineering, we used to start with around 30 to 40 features. But now, as of today, we're actually generating millions of features using these basic variables. And these models are being run into algorithms and classified as customers who are most potentially to buy a specific product, be it insurance or any other product. We've also now got access to digital information where customers are actually coming to our website, showing some intent there. Those are pulled back to the customer's information is already taken into account while modeling exercise. We know if he has reacted to any of our emailers in the past, if he's actually walked into any of the offers section on the website, if he has walked into an ATM, withdrawn cash and reacted to some of those digital intents that any of the pop-ups that he's been informed about. So all of these channel feedbacks are also used while we are actually creating the model. Apart from this, we have a huge information or data about the transactions that the customer is doing and what kind of transactions basis his credit card information, what kind, if he has, made a payment to a visa, we know he's very soon going to travel. So those kind of informations is actually what we use to create the model. So this entire event, if in case if he is having a marriage in the house, we know because we see a huge spends happening on certain products. We know if there's a childbirth happening, if he's spending on mom and pop shops, if he's shopping on First Cry, if he's shopping on certain websites which are catering only to kids. So we know that these are actually customers who have recently given birth to child. So we use these kind of surrogates to identify if there is any life event going on in the customer. That we also have affluent parameters that we look at, whether the customer is staying in an affluent society, whether for example, South Bombay. So if he is in that particular area, so what kind of insurances versus a person who's staying in probably a tier 2, tier 3 cities, the insurance amount and the need may differ. And also where is he spending, whether he's spending more on groceries, whether he's spending more on travel, what kind of categories does he spend on. All of these information actually builds the persona of the customer, and this persona is passed into generating various models in the bank. So once we put these personas, we identify significant features using various techniques, various statistical techniques, and those key features is what is responsible to create the model in the end. How do we actually build the model and how do we identify, okay, these are the top propensity customers? Is we split the customer into various deciles. So if you are a customer of the bank, you would be falling in one of these deciles to say, okay, you are a customer who is high propensity, or you are not going to take the product, or you show some likelihood to take the product. And every customer is decile into 1 to 10. And the model which performs in the back end is, if the customer is actually in the high propensity, that would mean that 20% of a customer would end up buying 80% of the cross-sell is happening within 20%. So these are the actual lookalike customers who we should focus on for the specific product. So these are specific models. So we almost have around 60 to 70 individual models which run at the back end. And there is a master model which runs over it to prioritize between the other insurance. There is most likely that you may want a health insurance as well as a travel insurance. Then we prioritize between them. There is another master model which runs above that. So when you're looking at the screen right now, we not only look at what we are developing at the moment, we also validate it at different time points. And we see, okay, this customer is most likely to buy the product. We've also looked at various tools, like we have Spark Beyond. Spark Beyond is a Singapore company where we generate millions of hypotheses for our features that we have input. So we input all the entire 360 the features which we showed in the 360-degree slide inside this particular tool, and we generate millions of hypotheses and shortlist those hypotheses and create segments out of that. That's how the entire model building exercise is done. Moving on, we also have certain segmentations or event-based triggers. Based on what event you've actually done, you will have insurances that we provide for those events. If I could move ahead. Do we have questions or do we want to take it in the end?
Sonal, we can take the questions at the end. Hello, am I audible? We can take the questions at the end.
Sure. I'll just go back to the slide.
Yeah.
Sorry. So behavioral triggers and segments is basically we look at each and every insurance as a different. So if a customer is active with a two-wheeler loan or an auto loan, they definitely would need a motor insurance. If he's regularly swiping at petrol pumps, what kind of behavior? This is just an event, but there is a lot of analysis which goes behind the swipe. whether he is actually swiping for what kind of amount, how frequently it is being used. Based on those triggers, we identify the need for insurance. Also, whether if he has any spends on vehicle accessories like seat covers, car covers, etc., we know there is some purchase on vehicle going on there. What kind of if there is an interaction on the motor training school, so there is an indication in the transaction saying that if he's actually spent in any of the motor training schools recently, these are also something that we look at for motor insurance as a segment, and customer who's spending on auto services as well. So these events combined together is what we pitch for motor insurance. Travel insurance, again, various events are looked at, like they're actually traveling. There is Forex, they bought Forex. They're spending on international universities, or they made payments to luggage or other travel products. They purchased those kind of products. They've bought cards which are not belonging to the country, and customers doing a lot of swipes on international locations. So all of this together is how we identify customers' need for travel insurance. Moving on, so all of these events that were mentioned actually comes down together, and we've created a sequenced based modeling for that based on the 50 plus life events. The events were just a summary of whatever we've mentioned. There are not only those silo events, we also see multiple sequences which are happening. So if there is a present of medical spends along with the education spend, all those kind of sequences are actually run together. And this sequence is then identified to say, okay, if there is a high potential of customers in this segment to take an insurance, what kind of, if there is a home improvement or a credit card spend together, so definitely there would be a need for those kind of insurances. We don't only look at these silos. There is a science which goes behind it. Every surrogate, every segment is evaluated at multiple time points. We look at how many customers actually within that particular base would go for an insurance versus this particular segment, how many have actually opted. So wherever there is a lift over the business as usual is what we look at as a segment. And these segments are used to communicate and then send emails and SMSs to give an offer to the customer for insurance if he has, if he would be wanting to buy. And it is a digital process where he goes through the entire digital form and converts for an insurance product. Apart from this, while we do this digitally, we also support the branch banking team, though the frontline team, to pitch how do you speak to the customer about it is also built through the algorithms that we built. What are the important features, or why is the customer wanting to buy this insurance is provided to the front line. What is causing this such a behavior is coming from the events that we have taken, and what is the kind of intervention? Is there any specific offer or something very likely that we would want to give to the customer is also present to the branch banking. So they do understand why is this model being suggested, to why is this customer being asked for an insurance services, so that they are very clear about how they have to speak to the customer. What is the intervention required? Why do we think that he needs this particular product? Moving on, the pre-approved offer generation is also in a similar manner, where all the attributes, whether the demographics, the age, the gender, marital status, the occupation, the legal entity, dependents, etc., all of this is considered to understand what kind of pre-approved offer the insurance provider would want to give it. Where is he? Which area is he from? What is the city, the state, the zip code? What kind of financial attributes that the consumer has? What is his estimated income? What kind of average salary packages does he own? And what kind of bank relationship does he have? Is he a vintage customer, or what is the kind of balances he maintains with us? All of this together is what goes to the insurance provider to give us a best offer, pre-approved offer to the customer. So this information is then transferred to our insurance providers who actually help us with offers. These offers are then given directly to branch banking, who pitch these customers with best offers. And also an RM is interacting with the customer. Also digital forms are sent. So this entire process that we are doing, that we are seeing, is done through multiple models coming together at the same time and is being pitched to the customer and getting business to the bank, and also at the same time making the customer happy with the right offer. While we've spoken about the existing customers who we're trying to potentially pitch on these services, we also see where exactly the customer is holding in insurance. If he is holding in insurance, is it the right amount? So we are using a lot of techniques. The one which is currently live is a collaborative filtering technique that is used to identify cohorts of homogeneous customers. We understand that basis what his investment potential is, what are his demographics. Every customer comes into a cohort. If the customer is actually in a cohort and where the average insurance is around 50,000, but he's actually underinsured and he's only insured for paying a premium of 20,000. So there would be a pitch for additional insurance to this customer. So we are also identifying customers who are actually not accurately insured and providing them the right insurance based on the different cohorts that they fall into. So this is the few use cases that I wanted to share, and from the bank side. I'll be open to taking questions if there are any.
We have a question in the chat box. Ankita had raised. Ankita, can you type in your question in the chat box? I believe there is a question from Ankita's side. Yes, Ankita, you can go ahead with typing your question so that Ms. Sonal can take your question. Sonal, if you're okay, we can. Okay. So there's a question here. Sonal, are you able to see the chat? She's put up a question in the chat box for you. That requirements for being a data scientist in HDFC. If you're okay, then we can take this question afterwards. We are also going to have a panel discussion where definitely we will be covering this topic, as in what are the skill sets required to get into this domain, people who want to change into that, and also the challenges faced. So we will definitely take up these questions later in the panel discussion. Sonal, if you're okay with that, can we take these questions later in the panel discussion?
Sure.
Okay, great. Oh, okay. So thank you for covering the whole life cycle of how the data scientists work, not only from the technical perspective, but also the business side of how you strategize the entire business for HDFC Bank and how customer personalization and various other tasks are being taken care of. So thank you for this deep enlightening session and giving us insight about the life using AI and data science in banking and your insurance sector. So moving further, as we know that KYC compliance is one of the important aspects, and it is being used by various companies, doing KYC. So next up, we have the students from our Aegis AI and Data Science Lab. Here we work at the real life examples or use cases. So I have our next speakers, that is Prateek Patil, Prateek Chaudhary, Vipul Shinde, and Nitesh Singh. So this group has worked on the product. They are going to show the product demo. They have written down some code for Aadhaar extraction, authentication, and masking. So they'll take you through the life cycle, how they have done it, and definitely what is it that when they give the input of a specific thing and what is the output, how are they extracting the data, and what is it that you're getting in the output. So I have my speakers with me, participants, students. Can you please switch on your video? The presenters, can you please switch on your
Yes,
video?
ma'am. Am I audible?
Yes, you're audible. Okay, over to you, Prateek.
Yes. Thank you, ma'am. Thank you, Nidama, for the kind words. So, hi everyone. Good afternoon. Today I will be taking you, demonstrating you a short, demo about our project, which is nothing but a digital KYC, you can call it. I will just take you. So we have taken here example of Aadhaar card. This project can be extended to any kind of document that insurance companies or and banking firms ask their customers. So this is the flow chart of our project. My colleague Pratik Chaudhary will take you through the whole flow in a very crisp and short manner. So here to you, Pratik.
Okay. Good afternoon, everyone. Thank you, Pratik. So, guys, I will take you through the PPT. So first, we will be asking user for the other image or other PDF, and then the document will be further proceed for the image refinement for the reducing noise and detecting the edges. After that, the region of interest will be cropped, and the extracted image, the final image, will be proceed for feature detection and ELA process, where we will be detecting the emblem, Government of India symbol, and QR code. If the number of features detected are more than 2, it will be verified as valid Aadhaar card for the first stage. If not, it will be declared as invalid Aadhaar card. Then the valid Aadhaar card will be further processed for extracting the text from the Aadhaar document using the OCR or the PyTesseract library. If the text is not readable by the OCR, the user will be further asked to re-upload the image. And if the text is readable, we will be creating a database of the name, Aadhaar number, gender, date of birth, and the picture, which will be stored in the database. After that, the UID will be extracted and be given to the Verops algorithm for verifying the Aadhaar number, whether it is valid Aadhaar number or not. If not valid, it will be declared as invalid Aadhaar card on the second stage. And if the Aadhaar number is verified by the algorithm, it will be declared as valid Aadhaar card. The valid Aadhaar card image will be then processed for masking of the Aadhaar card, and the masked Aadhaar card can be stored into our database for further processing the documents. After that, I will ask Pratik to please explain you the flow of the project.
Thank you, Pratik. So I will just take you through the code in short. So here are the required libraries that we have imported after defining functions. Here you can see we have imported an image of Aadhaar card. So this is my Aadhaar card. So you can see we are able to see all the features on the Aadhaar card. So after passing, like Pratik said, after applying the required filters, the Aadhaar, we will be extracting the important, data from the Aadhaar card. And see, here it is a crude way of extracting the data. After that, we will be storing it in a proper format. Here, as you can see, the extracted data, my Aadhaar number, my name, date of birth, my sex, and everything has been put into a proper format. Later on, this can be also stored as a JSON file or any other appropriate format. So this is the first part where you are extracting the information from the data. The second part is where we are validating the Aadhaar number using the Virchow's algorithm. So here it's a permutation table can be seen. So just to give an example, this is the original Aadhaar number. Its checksums you can see as 0. When I am giving a fake Aadhaar number, the checksum is not 0. So which means that so our Aadhaar number will be validated on the basis of this algorithm. proceeding further, so here we will be testing. So here again, I have given the input of my Aadhaar. It has extracted the Aadhaar number, and it has further masked it. As you can see, my Aadhaar number has been masked. So as per RBI guidelines, in 2019, the circular was passed by RBI, which said that confidential information such as Aadhaar number should be masked before storing by any of the companies. So this is one of the use cases where banking domain as well as insurance companies are using on a large scale. And the one of the best advantages of this is it is saving a lot of time and human effort. So that's it. Thank you, guys.
Thank you, team, for that demonstration of extracting information from Aadhaar, authenticating it, and even masking. Because as per the RBI guideline, masking is an important thing. We cannot store the data without masking it. So thank you once again for showing us that demonstration. I would like to call upon our next speaker, Ms. Ankita Nayak. And she's here to present the topic that is dashboarding on financial consumer complaints. So a quick introduction of Ms. Ankita. She has completed a BE and MTech in the field of computer science with more than 7 years of experience. She's an expert in database, SQL, visualization tools like Tableau and Power BI. So over to you, Ms. Ankita.
Thank you, Nina. Good afternoon, everyone. So I'm Ankita Nayak. So today's topic I'll be presenting about dashboarding on financial consumer complaints. So first, let us understand what is dashboard, why we have to do dashboarding. Before that, quickly, let us just see what do you mean by data visualization first, right? So it's a graphical display of abstract information for two purposes. We mainly do visualization for two purposes. One is for performing analysis, right? So whenever you get a amount of data, okay, large amount of data set, so you will not be able to analyze that data. So through these visualization tools that we have, we will be able to perform analysis, and mainly we do this analysis for communication purpose. Nowadays, every organization uses these visualization tools. So I can tell you visualization tools like ClickSense, Tableau, Power BI, each and every organizations are moving on to these visualization tools so that they get maximum benefit out of these visualization tools. So what the team does is they perform analysis on the data set they have received. And once they perform analysis on that, and then whatever stories they find out from that data set, they'll be able to communicate it to others through communication, right? They'll be able to present it like how I'm going to present it today. So I have taken one of the data set. So through that data set, so how I have taken, what are the steps? How do you understand the data? How do you go through the process? So that is what we will be seeing in this particular session. So important stories live in our data. When you take any data set, right? So stories live in our data. Only thing is we have to identify that stories behind that data, and we have to discover, okay, so what is there behind this. So in case there is mathematics involved in that, so you will have to do it manually sometimes to perform calculations. So what it is, first we have to understand data. That is the main key for any visualization. So performing visualization is easier task, but behind that, doing cleaning and understanding the data, that plays an important role. So once we discover, we understand the stories that are behind our data set, and then we present and distribute to others. So the data set can be anything like statistical information is abstract. So data can contain any data like sales data. It can be data related to any disease or athletic performance, etc. So we have seen during our Corona period, right? Daily on the daily basis, we used to get the graph like how it is going, like the entire 1920 how it was. So on a daily basis, and even like state wise, country wise, we used to get the data. So through, instead of seeing the numbers, it is always better like if you see just year data. So if you're seeing it on a weekly basis, then the number is fine. But when we see a year wise data, quarterly basis data, so that time what happens is it is always better to see it using in a pictorial format. So that is what we will be doing in this visualization tools. Then even though the data does not pertain to physical world, we can still display it visually, right? Like for education purpose, now students are performing. So even though it is not the actual data set, they can take any data set and they can perform for something like for education purpose, I can tell. So to do anything, we have to give a form to the data. Okay, so now one of the power of visualization I can tell. So you can see this data set here, right? I just have 3 rows in this and around 13 columns. So when you see this data set, you can just check. Okay, so when I give this data set to anyone, any of the student or any individual, so how he will be understanding this particular data, right? So one thing is he might tell that we have data related to domestic and international, then maybe flight related details, and every month how it is, like how the rates are going. And so something like this, few of the insight they might give you. So looking at the data set, but the same data set now, because we just have 2-3 rows, I'm able to see that. But when you have a lot of rows, like when you have lakhs of rows or millions of rows, that is when you convert this particular data set in the form of the visual format. Like you can see here, I have converted this into the line chart, right? So you can see this line chart. Now we have 2 lines, one is for domestic and one is for international. So when I look into this, automatically I come to know, okay, so domestic, maybe when I had seen that entire row, I was not getting, okay, so it was like considerably compared to international, domestic were comparatively higher. Okay, and domestic sales has the trend is like overall it is like a whole, so overall it is little higher. Okay, and international sales, if you see, almost from Jan to July, if you see, it is relatively like flat, I can say. Only in the month of August you can see there is a dip, right? So that you can observe when you look into the line chart, that is more actually visible than you look into the data set. Okay, and one more thing, one more pattern which you can see in the domestic is like it has exhibited a cyclic pattern, like up down up down kind of pattern. You can see like quarter wise up down, you can see that pattern. Maybe when we look into the numbers, we are not able to make out, because 3-4 months we are not considering together. Maybe we are, everybody is not able to identify. So that is when you will be able to identify compared to the data set that we have, which is in the form of numbers and the text. When we convert that into the pictorial format, that is of the more use, I can say. So here I have taken Tableau to perform dashboarding. So building Tableau visualizations. So there is measures and dimensions. Automatically when you upload your data set into Tableau, automatically Tableau is going to identify dimensions and measures, and that dimensions and measures, so dimensions are basically your text kind of data set, and measures are something through which you can perform aggregate. So mainly numericals will be in the measures and the text will be in the dimensions, and ID, those kind of things will be again in the dimensions. Okay, so we have to take these columns, what is dimensions and measures, we have to drag down this to shelves, so that you build your visualizations. So when you are building your visualization, again you have to know your problem statement, what you are going to build. Maybe you will have to take different you will have to try different using different columns, and you have to drag those things to shelves so that you are able to perform more of the visualization. Tableau is going to automatically give you certain visualization which best suits your data according to data that you have put it in the shelf. But you can show your intelligence. Maybe every time Tableau is showing you bar chart, right? So always bar chart is not useful. Some other charts you can choose, right? So a lot of different charts are there, advanced charts are there. We can make use of all those different charts, and you can put it in your, we can use that in the dashboard. So all that we can do in Tableau. So also we have something called as marks card option in Tableau. So through that you can find out more insights. Okay, so that your visualization will have more improvement. So that is about Tableau. And the dashboarding that I have done is for financial complaints. So this is a dashboarding that I have built. So let me show this on Tableau. So before showing it on Tableau, I would just like to explain about the data set. Okay, so the data set that I have taken is related to the complaints that the consumers have given, okay, related to some finances. Okay, so data set, so what kind of data I have is, like, we have different complaints, IDs are there, different IDs, all these IDs which are there are unique. Every time consumer is giving some complaint, so automatically they are given certain ID for that, and on which day they have submitted the complaint. Okay, so the date is recorded, and the product. Okay, so we have product and different sub products. Now products can be like related to credit card, then you have debt collection related to banking. Okay, some people want to check their savings account, they want to check about the student loan. All these are the different kinds of products. Within those products, again, within credit card, what kind of different sub products are there? Okay, like whether it is for general purpose or whether it is for the charge card, what is that you want to check, so that you will check. And what is the issue for why he has raised the complaint, so that you will have to check. Whether you want to close your account, whether you have any issues, the complaint like related to withdrawals or related to deposits, what kind of issue is that, so that is there. And within that issue, if there is sub issue, so again sub issue, like what kind of issues, so that is data we have. And company public response, so what company has given. So company here is Cumulus Financial, again it's US related company. So this particular company is taking all these complaints and resolving all the issues, that is the whatever consumers are giving, so related to that they are providing the solution to that. And the state details we have, so here the state details, again it is related to US, all the states are related to US, and we have all the zip codes. And then whether the consumer consent is provided or not, most of them are not applicable, some of them are provided, very less. And so they have received these complaints via what? Okay, so whether it is they have related they have given the complaint via web, or whether it is through phone, or whether it is through referral. So all these are the different modes through which they can give their complaints. And date received, okay, so they have given their complaints on a particular date, and the date received, we can actually perform analysis also on this, because submitted and received, I have raised the complaint today, so when did that solution get when did I get the solution back, so which was that date, so we can check whether the timely response was given or not. Okay, and most of the issues that were closed with an explanation by this particular company. And consumer disputed whether yes or no, so that is also there. Now let me move on to Tableau. So few of the things that I have, so in Tableau what happens is, whenever we want to perform analysis, we'll have to do it in the different sheets. And once you perform analysis on different sheets, then you can go to the dashboard and take all these different sheets together and build a dashboard to that. Okay, so the number of total complaints that I have in my data set is around 75K. Okay, and almost the timely response was also great, almost 98% the timely response was there. And till now, means in the data set, 283 number of complaints are still not solved, so that is what it is given. And how many of them were resolved at no cost? Almost 85% of them were resolved at no cost, and some of them were given the cost. And complaint by products, so taking all the different products that we have, so taking it all together. Okay, so maximum number of complaints were related to credit card, and then like savings and so on. And minimum, I think it was related to vehicle loan. So that was the different products through which they have got the complaints. And percentage, how much number of customer got disputed. So related to that, I built one simple pie chart. Then complaints by media. Okay, so like I had already mentioned in the data set, through maximum complaints they have received is through web, and minimum is through email. The last one is the complaints by issue. Okay, so what are the different types of issues they are facing? So managing an account, that was the maximum they were facing. That was the maximum that they were facing the issue. So that was complaints by issue. So the data set that I have taken, so there you have data related to US. So I have shown you the data set wherein you can see all the different states, right? So automatically what Tableau has done is taking those states. So in the data source that I have uploaded, so it has taken those states and automatically it has done the US chart that you can see here. So I have not done anything. Automatically Tableau identifies that and it has built on its own. But apart from this building this particular country, so what else that I can perform, right? What else I can add in the marks card option so that it is more insightful. Simply it is, if you are having the a chart like this, it is not of much use. So what I can do is I can make use of the bubble chart like this, wherein you can see now if I am just hovering my mouse, you can see the state California. So this particular state has registered maximum number of complaints. Okay, so that is why you are able to see that using through color coding also and through the size of the bubble chart as well. Okay, so that is about state-wise complaints, like the data set that we had. So automatically Tableau has identified that particular country and it has plotted all the different states that we have in our data set, and we were able to find out more insights. Now, considering all this analysis that I have done in different sheets, we can take all this together and put it in the dashboard. So how the dashboard looks like? So dashboard looks something like this, wherein you will be able, so what I've done is I have taken the entire whatever the sheets I have told, I've taken those entire sheets and I have put it in this dashboard. Now so here what happens is it is a dynamic dashboard. So you click on any one of the product, so automatically what it has to do is it has to change the other charts as well. Okay, so one more thing what you can see here is the date submitted. So I am having almost 10 years data with me, right? So when I change, now say suppose I'm presenting it to someone and they are just interested in last 2 years data, right? So 2020, so 18 to 20 they want. So when I just change this through filter, okay, I can change it like this, maybe from 2018. I can show it like this. Okay, so automatically you can see as soon as I have changed all this date that is there as a filter, automatically you can say the other charts also got changed. You can see here number of complaints also got changed, and the here you can see previously it was credit card overall for 10 years, but if you see for last 2 years, maximum complaints that they have received is through like for savings account or for checking accounts, and this is through web that is there, and managing an account. So you can just check not only this date, apart from this date also. Now say suppose I have taken the entire data. Now say suppose you can take each of these charts also as a filter. Okay, now say suppose I click on credit card. When I click on credit card, you can see automatically all the other charts changed. Okay, so it means, so in progress 0, there are no means till now there are no whatever complaints which are there related to credit card, they have been solved. Overall it was 283, but now you can see it is 0. Timely response also got changed. Okay, and in credit card, maximum complaints they have received is for billing disputes and for theft, that kind of issues, and so on. The values also get changed. You can use any of the so for this you will have to just use it as a filter. Now say suppose I click on California. So when I click on California, again related to this only, the other charts get changed. Okay, so this way what we can do is we can always build a dynamic dashboard. So to build a dynamic dashboarding, first thing we have to perform different analysis on different sheets, perform analysis and understand what chart should I put on the dashboard, which fits best in the dashboard. So you can fit that and you can perform the dashboard. So that's it from my side. Thank you.
Thank you, Professor Ankita, for giving us a deep insight about dashboarding and the various graphs and that you can use using Tableau. And she is also aware of Power BI. So yes, definitely dashboarding and visualization is a very powerful tool that enables you to understand the problem statement and the business, deciding the business strategies. So moving on to our next segment, we have a panel discussion. So we have a great set of speakers here who have their expertise in the area of insurance and AI space. Participants, the questions that you have addressed before, we will definitely take up your questions in this panel discussion that will be starting now. So let me set the topic, introduce you to the topic of the panel discussions. So as you guys have already seen various use cases, and AI and data science in insurance is definitely gaining a boom. So I would like you to introduce to the panelists for today's discussion. First, we have Dr. Abhijit Gangopadhyay, sir. Sir is a dean at Aegis School of Data Science, founder dean at IIM Indore, former dean at Tata Institute of Social Sciences, former professor at XLRI. Next, we have Mr. Bhupesh Daheria, sir, founder MUNI Campus, AI and data science thought leader and speaker. As mentioned earlier, he has addressed many candidates and professionals, more than 1 lakh professionals in the field of data science and AI. Next, we have Mr. Sandeep Kushwaha, Senior VP and Head of Analytics and AI at Aegon Life. We also have Ms. Sonal Modaliar, DVP Advanced Customer Analytics and Data Science at HDFC Bank. Okay, so every industry is using data science and AI and to automate the work that we are giving and to get the faster results. So to see the growth in businesses using these technologies in insurance domain. We've also seen some of the use cases that talk about identifying the customer potential, retaining the customer, underwriting the customer to fix the premium amount, the customer lifetime value, and also the fraud detection and prevention. So we will address the topics regarding the entire life cycle of how the insurance domain works. So I would please request the panelists to please switch on your cameras. Panelists, if you can please switch on your cameras.
Professor Nida, I think Sandeep has left. He had to really attend some meeting. I think.
We also have Professor Ankita Naik join us, the panelist. So, ma'am, if you can also, Professor, if you can also switch on your camera. So, well, we have already seen the various use cases and working around the life of a data scientist, so there are a lot of participants who are wanting to know. So when you hire a candidate as in the field of data science and AI, so Ms. Sonal, if you can really take up this question. So what are the skills that you look at while hiring a candidate in the field of data science and AI for the insurance domain or the banking sector?
Sure, Nida. From the banking side, I think there was a question whether we really look at banking as an experience. The answer would be no, we don't really need hardcore banking skills, because I think that can be learned. And this is very quick for somebody from a background who's into algorithms to understand a little bit of product that is done on the job. But the hardcore is whether he's able to understand basic linear algebra, he's able to understand the math behind what is going, because it's a hardcore data science. The hard skills are more important. Having said that, we also look at the soft skills piece, as in whether you have the right attitude, because there is a lot of emphasis which goes on speaking to business, driving solution, and data science is not a simple a 9-to-5 job that you come in the morning and you're leaving at 5. You're constantly thinking of innovations. You're constantly, you need to have the passion for that particular job. If you do not have passion, it is very difficult to survive. You need to keep reading, researching. You need to drive yourself. So we just had some campus recruits, and we could see so much of energy at the youngsters who really want to do data science. You can easily bifurcate between a person who really has the passion for the subject and who does not have. So it's more about the passion and the attitude, while other things can be learned. That's how we select our employees here. I hope I addressed it.
Yes, definitely. So moving further, so as we have seen a lot of technical aspects that are required, the coding languages, the knowledge of the machine learning, then, advanced topic, because nowadays you're also dealing with a lot of textual data. So natural language processing is something that, has come up, and that somebody really need to understand how it can be utilized to convert it to a machine learning model. So Mr. Bhupesh Dheria, sir, if you can take up the question, as in how can somebody develop these skills, learning of a coding language or these technical algorithms that you need. How important is math in understanding these models? Because at the end you are analyzing and deriving some statistical information from the data. So if you can really take up this question as in how the candidates can develop these skill sets, soft skills, as Sonal has already addressed. They can definitely do it through a lot of reading, and we'll come to the domain knowledge later. But if you can take up this question about how can anybody who would want to get into learn these technical skills, how can they go about this, or how can they learn that?
It's a fantastic question, Professor Nidha. So I think Sonal has also touched briefly about why maths is important. I'll take a further step back. Maths is the only language through which you can communicate with the God, and you can decode the how the universe works. Math is very much fundamental. So far, say like 20 years back, all the banks, all these centuries, they were doing the calculations based on the hardcore maths, right? And which is essentially on the rule base. Now, when we are getting into the probabilistic models, when we can't really understand the relationship, right? And that's where the machine learning came into the picture, so that machine learning can really establish the relationship. Machine learning is perhaps a tool to really find out the hidden rule between the cause and effect, or perhaps input or output. So let me give you the perspective. Let's say, how do you identify it? How do you really know that you're wearing a black jacket, right? Or at the background, it is a white. Now the machine does not really understand. How the machine will understand whether it is Professor Nidha, or whether it is Sonal, or whether it is Professor Ankita, or it is me. Machine only understand the number. Machine does not understand the picture, and these pictures will be converted essentially into pixels, and pixels further into numbers of zeros and ones, which is represented into the matrices, right? Now, and this is the data representation. If you don't understand the basic matrices, if you don't understand the linear algebra, simple linear equation, which lays down the foundation for any machine learning model, you'll not be able to really do anything, right? So you need to really understand the stats. So behind all these algorithms, the underhood, there's a tons of math is there, right? So now it has become quite fancy to really learn simple Python, drag and drop, say algorithms in AutoML, or maybe in Microsoft Azure or Data Robot. But you'll not be able to really modify or create new algorithms if you don't really understand the power of math behind that. Because at the end of the day, it is all math. It's nothing else. If you have to define machine learning in single line, machine learning is f of x equals to y. It is mapping of input to output. You take a leap of faith and you actually give machine that this is the function, learn the linear function or non-linear function, but you start with the linear function, right? And then you can really create a simplistic version that machine learning is about identifying the pattern and all those stuff. But for the math person, it is basically identifying a function and training it on the data. That's it. So if you don't understand the math, you'll not be able to really understand the machine learning. You'll not be able to understand the deep learning. And at the end of the day, you cannot really build any model. And model is essentially a real life representation, mathematical representation of a real life. So if you don't understand the math, how you're going to really build the real life representation? So math is at a hardcore. Rest, everything becomes much easier. Whether learning Python or whether learning say, deep learning algorithms or whether learning Tableau or other stuff becomes much easier. They also have certain learning curve and challenges, but math is a hard code. I took little longer, but I thought that is necessary.
Thank you, sir. Thank you for addressing that question. I would like to take this opportunity to extend my warm welcome to Dr. Abhijit Gangopadhyay, sir, for joining us for today's panel discussion. We welcome you, sir. So my next question would be how, like we're talking about the skill sets, right skill sets to get into the industry, and the technologies that one should be learning and how can one acquire these technologies. So the next question is, how important is the domain knowledge? So like there are a lot of freshers candidates who are looking to get into the domain of finance, insurance, any domain knowledge. How important is that domain knowledge? Dr. Abhijit, sir, if you would like to take that question. Domain knowledge, the importance of domain knowledge while working on these skill sets.
Thank you, Professor Nida. I think it's wonderful to join you, but a little late because I had some technical problem at my end. So it was a very appropriate question, and I'd like to really, it also bothers me. Now, I think I have seen that the domain knowledge only you get when you work on a particular area or your ecosystems also supports you. But by and large, I think I don't feel that it will come automatically without having an exercise. But little awareness about, so for example, how many you have to know about what are the legal, statutory obligations of this insurance sector. Say a modest attempt in terms of getting into the regulatory authorities' perspective is very, very important. But always it bothers me because without having an understanding, say for example, basic conceptual framework of insurance essentially comes from the risk analysis and risk management. And if I talk about, and that also is essentially loss prevention. Now I find you require lots of mathematical understanding and statistical analytical framework in terms of understanding risk. Risk is essentially a probability. Now, your business is, I think if it is not structured properly, then the type of insurance coverage or insurance domains penetration in our society is very, very minimal. Why it is happening? Because most of the people, say, I think it is very important when I talk to any person, I say that why you are not taking life insurance? The understanding is that life insurance is essentially to get, it's like a savings. No, essentially life insurance is getting margin out of it because you are trying to cover your risk. We take travel insurance. I think in my life, I think more than what I have earned, probably I have spent on travel insurance. I have never got a single claim. I have a health insurance. I think to my knowledge, I think I have never claimed any health insurance. Say the same is this, so is the automobile insurance. I think I am now quite old and I think can understand that. And in this my 70 years of experience, I have never claimed a single automobile claim. But the question is that what frustrates me, and that is what exactly today's insurance sector should address, that I think you don't claim, but I don't get any reward of it. I think basically this is what exactly AI will make it possible. Then you will be rewarded all over the world. If you look at it, then they usually calculate your risk potentials and accordingly past history. So we have a credit score. It's nothing but a statistical analysis. So should be the mandate for insurance companies. Say, last 10 years, I am renewing my health insurance coverage, but I have never seen the reduction in terms of the premium. When I raise this issue, actually they think that insurance is not a risk management. But if you see the chronological history, if you look at the actuaries or look at the risk analysis, actually you should make it so algorithmic that it automatically reduces your risk and probably your commission, your premium also gets decreased. That's an incentive, and that exactly will be done when it is through the artificial intelligence. So today, the capturing of data is a mandate for any sector, and more so because in insurance sector, because insurance sector, you don't do anything other than managing data. Since you have never paid, say, I can give you an example, and those who are aspiring people, say we have in our vehicle insurance, we have a third-party compensation. Third party is mandatory for anybody who takes out his vehicle on the road. I have never seen people, because I think by and large Indian population, it's not true in other. If you meet with an accident, immediately you disappear. I had 2 or 3 accidents. What I did, the moment I fell down, and immediately I started running away from that place. But that should not be. I never thought of taking photograph of the person who has caused the accident. I was working, actually. Now, the issue here is that requires a mindset. And this mindset should be integrated in terms of the insurance algorithms. And I think machine learning gives you an opportunity. Deep learning gives you further opportunity. I think you need not visually inspect anything. So today, if you go to any countries in the world, if you meet with an accident and you claim for your car damage, immediately they get a photograph, a picture. And that picture gives you don't need to send a person to evaluate this, to estimate the damage. I think that is a very frustrating one. My request to you, all of you, those who are aspiring for this one, try to keep your eyes open. What is happening? It requires a minimum sense. Say, after nationalization of insurance sectors, I think I have seen it is a very frustrating experience, because I have passed through these 2 decades in which we post and past this nationalization. I think absolutely there is not much of proactive scheduling. I think probably if you talk about underwriting, if you talk about claim settlement, if you talk about everything needs to be oriented. And those who are aspiring to be in the insurance sector, say insurance sector is never, I have, as a teacher in management, I have seen many cases the insurance company used to ask us to train their marketing people. The insurance need not train any marketing people. They have to train people in terms of analyzing data of the people whom you are insuring. And I think if this could be done, I think insurance sector will progressively, because government is very much worried why it is not getting activated. Again, legal requirements is not there. I should go the moment I think of any risk assurance, immediately I should go to the insurance sector. I am not aware. I have never insured my house. Why? Primarily because I really don't know what exactly the implication of it. But it should be done, and this much of awareness should be created. And this is possible only when you reinforce people in terms of coming to the insurance portfolio. Thank you. If you have any questions, I will have to take it.
Thank you, sir, for your deep insight onto that domain. So again, all these things are interrelated. Be it the skills, we've spoken about soft skills, the domain knowledge. So I have a question for Professor Ankita. If again, dashboarding is a very important aspect for any business model to understand it, and so anybody who is aspiring to learn dashboarding or want to get to understand how these tools work, like Tableau, Power BI. So what is your advice to candidates who would want to start learning dashboarding? Because it is really one of the important aspect of any business wherein you present the total business insight to your clients or customers. So your take on that, Professor Ankita.
Sure. Thanks, Nida. Hello, everyone. So I would like to tell about so coming to softwares. Okay, so almost from 4-5 years I'm into this field. So we should keep on updating ourselves. Starting like ClickSense was there, which was too much into use. Like everybody used to use ClickSense. Then Tableau came into the picture. Right, and now it is Power BI. So almost, I don't say no, almost all 3 of them are in use. But we should keep on updating ourselves that we have to understand that we have to first thing is that, as I already mentioned in my talk, right, understanding of the data becomes a very key picture. Like whenever you have any data set that you are getting, so I always tell my students also the same thing, like they get placed in different sectors, different domains, be it finance, be it healthcare, be it education. So the domain can be anything, but so what they have to do is, once they enter in any organization, obviously they need to understand. Now maybe it is like related to banking, and if they are fresher, so obviously they will not have that much knowledge. So maybe they'll have to gain that knowledge. And if, as Sonal has already mentioned, if they are having that attitude to learn, and if they're having that passion, right, obviously students can, I think they can, almost everybody is doing well, whoever I've seen many of them, so in this field, visualization field. So building that, so learning visualization tools is easier. Okay, so only thing is that they have to understand the data. So taking that data, so understanding, and it is not only that data what they have got some data. Now say suppose we have a lot of columns in our data set, so taking those columns, what is the maths behind that, right? You need to do certain calculated columns, you need to do certain formulas, so all that comes into picture. So we have to understand that. We will be spending a lot of time in doing that things, and also for cleaning. Okay, some, because data is not always clean, maybe we will spend some time in cleaning, we spend some time in understanding, and taking that data we can build a dashboard. So again, the visualization tools, name itself is telling, it's business intelligence tools, all these are. So obviously it is just giving us automatically, it is showing us all the different types of charts that are available. And now we have all different types of advanced charts as well, right? Taking all that into picture, you perform analysis, and then once the analysis is done, again, whatever is required, what is the problem statement, what is, for whom you're going to build the dashboard, right? Whether if it is for the finance, so who is going to see your dashboard? So that is also your question. So depending upon that, who is your end user, who's going to use your dashboard? So according to that, you will be performing, you will be doing the analysis, and you will be putting those charts which are required for that end user, so that maximum benefits they would get from our side.
Thank you, Professor Ankita. My next question is to Sonal. So Sonal, you've been working with so many algorithms, so many domains, and so many interrelated things in HDFC. So can you highlight us what are the difficulties that you face while working in the team? So you have different teams there. Somebody is working on the customer satisfaction, somebody is working on underwriting, somebody is working on automation or some other part. So can you highlight the difficulty that you face while working on such a big model, or I would say a complex model?
Sure, Nida, you put in the right way, but actually it's not the teams which is an issue. I think we are very collaborative as such. All our teams are, when we start off a project, there is a buy-in from all the seniors across all divisions. So whether it is customer, whether, honestly saying, something which comes from the data scientists is something that is driven by the MD. So there has never been something that we had an issue, whether it is IT, they're bang on supporting. Our issues are more from the data angle, the consistency in the data capture. So what data scientists, data is the problem, data is the solution. So when I am looking at a data science solution, when I'm building a model, when I start off with the model, I have certain columns, certain features. People are updating the application forms with a lot of information. So sometimes people miss updating. While we have tools and techniques to, update the missing values, create outliers. So there are a lot of, in those aspects is where we find difficulties in looking at solutions. And when the consistency of the information that comes and keeps flowing, sometimes we get an information and suddenly that stops flowing. Our model is already into production. So those are situations where we are actually facing challenges and issues. While we use surrogates to identify those values is when we look at. The other challenge that we face is we have a huge customer base. Like we said, we have 70 million customers, but our responses for insurance would be in thousands or in lakhs. So that is, an unbalanced data set, which we have to really work with. This is a big problem that we we've been facing and we're trying to solve. Right now, we have a lot of techniques like generating data through synthetic, the SMOT techniques, etc., is being used to generate data synthetically. But how appropriate it's going to be in the long run is what we have to wait and watch and see, because responses are going to be the same. We can't do much about it. Our customers are expanding. So how do we use innovative ways to create accurate models? We have issues of even, generalization of models. Sometimes we have very accurate models, but when we spend hours and days in creating those models, but when we validate it at a different time point, it does not get validated. So there is a problem of overfitting. So these words which I'm using is something that every data science and data school is teaching students, and we are facing it in our real life. While we do a missing, a mean there, mean doesn't work here. So when you come to the business, you have to really use innovative ways. You have to create an algorithm to actually fill in the missing data. So that algorithm creation is another process. So the entire modeling exercise is so vast, and thankfully, because of the cooperation with different teams, we do not have that burden of, not being able to implement our models. The models are definitely doing well. Even we have very good support with IT. They see value in the work that we do. So there is point blank, no issue in production movement. It's about the model development. Once the data scientist is through, he's through. So that's the data is the problem, data is the solution, is what I can say.
Thank you for taking that up and explaining it to us. So definitely, when we are talking about any model building, we also tell our students, the most of the time goes in cleaning the data rather than you building the model. So data is the main aspects to understand the data. Otherwise, building model will not definitely give you the results, or I would say it would not meet the business needs. So because there is a lot of machine learning, Bhupesh sir has already addressed to what is machine learning. Now, again, to learn the machine learning, you need math as well as a coding language. So Bhupesh sir, if you can highlight, somebody who wants to get into this or learn Python from the base. So how can they go about that? Because to do all these coding and, analyzing the data using the libraries, they really need to have a good hold of Python, because the logical understanding is important. So if you can highlight, how can anybody who wants to get into this, fresher who wants to learn Python, can really go about this?
I think you're the best person to really address that. I'm not the right person, but okay, I'll take a little step back. So essentially, technical guys, those who do computer science or IT, anyway, they learn the coding. So they're familiar. So it's just matter of syntax. And Python being a new language, it is much easier, right? It is closer to the English. And under new education policies, even 6th grade students will be learning the Python. So I think it is important for everybody, whether you're a techie person, whether you're a non-techie person, whether you BCom, whether you're MBA, whether you're a life sciences student, everybody has to really learn the language through which you can really communicate to the machine and build up some logical stuff. The only thing is your mind plays tricks with you, right? So most of us, we are comfortable with Excel sheet, but the moment it comes to the command line language, our mind becomes jittery. And perhaps those who try to really learn the language at schools and colleges, the courtesy also goes to the bad teachers, right? And they really kill the interest. and also one of the biggest contributor is Bill Gates as well, because Bill Gates has made our mind so he has offered idiot's box, so that everything we want to really do, the drag and drop GUI based. So how do you really train your mind? So you have to really think that, yes, if I can really do the calculations on Excel, which is also a way through which I am doing the programming, right? You do the macro, you do everything. So why can't we really do it in the command line, right? So if somebody is using the Python, they will see the beauty of Python, that within fraction of second, you can really sort the data, right? Which will take perhaps a lot of time in Excel. So my recommendation to non-techie people, that they have to really come out of this phobia, learn this language. And when a 6th grade student can really learn, you can also learn. And we have seen past a lot of students, those who come from non-techie background, BCom or BMS or MBA, they have all learned. And not only they're using Python for simple data analysis, but they're also building up, doing the machine learning and deep learning work. And some of them, they have also launched their own companies. So, so everybody can really learn. And that's perhaps is my message. How to really learn, perhaps Professor Nida, you can really tell them in much better way.
To continue to what you've said, yes, definitely. I say that Python is the best, favorite language if you have a scare for learning any programming language. Definitely, Python will be your best friend because there are a lot of libraries, there are a lot of inbuilt functions that are available. That it's as sir already mentioned, its syntax is very similar to what you say in the English language. So you can start with the basics, understanding the basic fundamentals with what are the variables and what that language is actually moving towards the functions. And because you would want, because now Python has again many implementations, be it in the development as well in the data science domain. So if you're interested towards the data science domain, you can learn more about the libraries which are widely used in data science, like pandas, numpy, because the entire analysis that we do on the data, we use these libraries, and inside these libraries there are again a lot of functions. So my suggestion would be you can start with the basics, because understanding the syntax of any language is really important, and gradually you can move towards the libraries which are used for data science. So that are my words towards learning Python language. So we've been talking about the accuracy of the model, how it is helpful for how it impacts the business. Abhijit sir, I have a question for you. How important it is for any candidate to understand the end-to-end model? It should not be only just taking a look at the data and leaving it. It should be the entire process, the entire process from understanding the data to model building to actually put it in deployment. So, and before you do that, you really need to understand what are you solving it for, the problem statement, understanding the underlying problem is really important. So if you can really address onto that, how do you deal with the entire end-to-end problem and not just, partly with it?
There's a wonderful question. Actually, this question was bugging us when I started doing my PhD. I think basically I used to say that nothing is happening. I don't have any problem to work. Then my professor used to say that if you have a problem, then you can't do your PhD. So you're identifying a problem. That is exactly what you are talking about. Is a very old thing. Say, for example, you are talking just now about learning. Say the problem of mindset is that we don't forget. And unless you forget, you cannot learn. So basically, I think once you are used to something, say, for example, my obsession with the Mac is very, very simple, because I don't want to learn. And therefore, I am not capable of handling. Whatever problem I had from the morning, my colleagues have already told me, but I am not able to do it. The question is that please understand, end-to-end solution can only come when you are able to think liberally. And this thinking requires your mindset. Say, for example, as Mr. Bhupesh keeps on telling, and I think I am also his student in one sense, he says that always you, any language, any tools which you use in terms of technology, say, all are essentially, say, it is all engrossed in Excel. If you know Excel, I think it will be very difficult for you to learn any other technology, because you feel comfortable, and therefore unless you make a flexible shift, I think nobody can become at least take advantage of data science. Say, for example, today it is very, very, very clear. Say, machine learning does not mean you are mechanical. Actually, you create innovation in terms of managing your codes, and the coding is essentially. Say, for example, it's my personal bias, which is very, very wrong. Coding is absolutely, I used to look upon any coder as a useless thing, but it is not, because everything what I do is essentially coded. I have been coded this way. Therefore, I refuse to learn anything. So end-to-end solution, problem of problemization. You see, you won't believe when I was in IIT, one professor was called from US. He was only Cantrill. He's one of the legendary names, and he delivered how to problemize. The idea is very simple, because if you cannot make a problem, you cannot really start working on it. And therefore, end to end will come only when you can expand. And this expansion is always required. And if you don't do, then you will be doing same thing again and again. And then you become, actually, you can't become a genius by doing the same thing again and again. Hopefully, the current generation, I see a lot of promises because they do something which is different. And essentially, end-to-end is a method of making something different, innovative. So, for example, today, why insurance sector resists in terms of adopting any changes? Because they find it extremely difficult, because so far they have only collected money for taking the risk. They are never reimbursed it. Now that you are in the midst of, people are becoming aware, I think the amount of claim which is being made, essentially, now you will see, earlier time it was not there. So I find my own daughter or everybody, I think, is making claim, because I'm hesitant in terms of making claim. Now, please, the things are becoming very hard, and you cannot really do business unless you make an end-to-end process, which is to be activated. And I think it is no more a human job. It is basically a technologically enabled environment, ecosystems you have to create. Thank you. Hope
adding to Dr. Gangopadhyay's point, Professor Nidam. So, not sure about the large insurance company in the bank, but the startup companies are more on looking for full stack data scientists. So not only say formulating the problem, not only data cleaning, building up the machine learning model, right? But at the end of the day, they also need to really deploy that model into real life app, right? So to give you perspective, let's say you have built a model for giving the recommendation about the right product to the customer. And let's say your agent who's at the client home, right? So based on the behavioral and demographic data, he should be able to really offer him the right kind of policy, right, on his mobile phone. Let's say it's assisted commerce. Now you build this model, and model is nothing, it's a basically bunch line of Python code or maybe R language. And your app is working in Android or maybe in iOS, or maybe your site is working in PHP or other language. This model of Python need to really function in that, right? He should be able to see the life. So I call it like, say, this soul needs a body. So the soul is model, and it need to really fit into a body, which is basically a web app or a mobile app or a desktop app. Now, 95% of the models, right? Just don't catch on this word, but majority of the models, they don't find that body. They become ghosts and they really roam around. It means that 95% of the project fails because either there is an issue in terms of a latency, incompatibility, the data scientists don't understand the language of the software developer. And being a startup company, they can't really have the domain expert separate, statistician separate, machine learning guy separate, data scientist separate, business analyst separate. They have to really have one guy who will be able to not only do everything and deploy as well, which will really ensure the success goes pretty high, right? And that's the reason this end-to-end visibility and end-to-end understanding is very important.
Thank you, sir.
Sonali, would you like to add to that, your practical experience?
No, you're absolutely right. From our side, that's one of the key importance that the data scientists are given before developing something, because it's not about developing, it's about utilization of the solution and how well it is going to be utilized on the ground. So we do have, if I have 20 solutions built, like you said, but the percentage is around 20% goes unutilized, 80% ends up being utilized in some form of factor. And there is a lot of emphasis right now on embedded analytics, where we're trying to the data scientists also go one step ahead to see if the front end of the app, like you mentioned, is also feasible enough, it is developed enough to take the algorithm and deploy internally or externally. So just by developing the model or the predictive solution, we don't end there. This is something that we've just initiated this year, where we realized that there are certain key aspects which are missing. The embedded analytics portion was something which was majorly missing in the solutions, where like if we have developed an app to understand, okay, the customer is going to understanding the complaints, we've done the natural language processing, we understood that this is a complaint. Until analyst does not go to the customer service, unless he does not see it live happening, algorithm running behind, it is not going to work. So the turnaround time of implementing these solutions and getting the end user or the consumer very happy is what we are trying to do as data science, as a complete end-to-end solution. That is required. Otherwise, we would just build solutions and not get utilized. You're right.
Wonderful. Thank you for your input. I have been advocating it since 2015, but I could really see from 2017-18 people really started really jumping on that. Thank you for your input.
Yes, sir.
Thank you. So considering the time we have, we really have a few minutes left. So I would like to give out few quick questions, if you can quickly answer onto those questions. So the next question I have is for Professor Ankita. So now when you're dealing with huge amount of data, so definitely the query processing languages is something that is really important. So we've been talking about the underlying stats, we've been talking about the underlying mathematics and the machine learning model and the Python code to run those models. But query processing, or getting the data in and out from the larger databases is something really important and is an important part in every organization. So Professor Ankita, if you can really highlight on how can somebody learn SQL or take up learn the tools along with MySQL, if you can quickly answer that question.
Sure, Nida. So talking about SQL, again, every organization, if you see, almost from quite long years, almost all the organizations are maintaining the data, right? Like software. So we have different softwares like MySQL is there, Oracle is there, SQL Server is there. So every organization maintains their databases. So we can, what happens is, again, all the data that is there, that is lying in the databases. So we have to fetch that data, and again, to fetch that data, that is when your SQL comes into picture. You need to learn the query language, right? Again, like as sir said, Python, even SQL is very easy. It is like normal, your English words are there. So it is not quite complicated as such. So basics and all, it is quite easy to understand in SQL, right? The databases that what the organizations, what they are maintaining. So you have to fetch that data and perform analysis on that, right? Again, that is also one of the core subject I can tell. Apart from machine learning and Python, even SQL is required for being a data analyst or a data scientist. SQL is a must. So because databases contains, they store all the data, you have to fetch that data and to perform analysis on that. And maybe again, when I am telling visualization tools, there also again, I fetch the data from database and then get that data in that, and then we perform again dashboarding. So that is how SQL is again an important topic, and also it is quite easy to learn, at least basic part. So once you're thorough with that, then again, once you're okay with that, then you can go with the advanced part. That's what I think.
All right, thank you very much. Sonal, if you can, so one problem that, people who have learned these skill set and now they are ready to get into the industry, the problem that most of the participants face is the data. They want to work on the real data, but all the data that you have is Kaggle data or dummy data where there are no missing values. So what would be your advice or to participants who would really want to work on the real-time data, or where can they access this data? Because of course, any organization, be it your banking or anybody, they would never share the data, and not even the dummy instance of it, because we faced this problem earlier. So yes, your advice onto that.
So honestly, right now, life has become so simple for data scientists. We can scrap data when you're doing it from an educational perspective. If I have to build a model, I personally do that. If I have to generate a sentiment analysis, I don't go and use Kaggle. I will go and create that data using Twitter. So I will probably use some random IDs to understand if I have to do, we were doing some COVID analysis as to what is a positive sentiment, negative sentiment. So I actually went ahead and I created a API where I was fetching data at the backend from the real-time servers. And I think Twitter is giving, an API tool to developers to quickly access real-time data. And if you are into the NLP field, you definitely can do that. A lot of websites are actually giving access to developers to go to their website at the backend and get data. So this is a very good, sign to say that they really need people to access information from research perspective. Obviously, you can't commercialize all this, but if you're learning, there is no dearth of data. You can just, and it is happening real time. We built a dashboard where I could generate tweets, whatever tweets are getting right now, basis keywords which I wanted. At a click of a button, I can get 20,000 tweets for this. So data accessibility in today's world is very easy. As compared to 10 years back, if I may say. So the developers have access, and even companies are open to sharing data from their APIs for development. It is a good time for all of us.
All right, thank you for that insight. But I also have students, whose email IDs do get blocked when they try to access the Amazon or the Flipkart data. They're like, all the IDs that we have created have been blocked. We are just able to scrape this much amount of data. So yeah, definitely using the APIs will give them the access. So coming and again looking at the time frame, one closing remark from each one of you, about this entire topic that we have, that is insurance challenges and use cases in insurance domain, and how can you go? If I can have a quick remark from each one of you, because we are already running out of time. So yes, Gangopadhyay sir, if we can start with you.
But why I am okay. But at the last, I think there's no last word. I think the first word will be that we should be data sensitive. And it's very fascinating for me to see that how to get data. As a student, early days, I used to think, no, data is available. And people are never shy of sharing data. And I think if you know how to get it, even, you see, if you are blind, you will not get data. And therefore, the insurance sector should understand who is surviving. You see, look at the growth of insurance sectors. Anywhere it is growing, I think it is a very proactive approach they have taken. And if you take a routine approach, I think probably you will not be able to grow. And this is what exactly we should be optimistic, and people will be forced to grow. And I have seen many cases the people are growing. Thank you.
Rupesh sir, if we can take one closing remark from you, or we can say just the start of another journey that we're looking at. Yes.
So I think I'm really excited with this amalgamation and use of AI and all exponential technology in insurance. And for this part of the world, specifically in India, we need to really increase the penetration. And I think humanly it's not possible, right? When we're talking about only 3% out of 100 persons are using insurance. And during COVID, we have seen they have lost the body, they have lost the house. Now, so if we have to really democratize and we have to really see the mass adoption of the insurance, the cost need to be reduced down. The distribution need to become much easier. They should be able to really buy the insurance just like we use the Google Pay. Even a sabji wala or auto guy actually uses that. That's the kind of dream I have. And of course, it's a far-fetched dream, but purely humans cannot really make it true. And I am big proponent of the technology and hopeful that yes, someday the AI and exponential technology will really make it happen. And of course, you folks are the foundation. Person like Sonal is already doing that. And Professor Ankita, Professor Nidha, you're anyway training students. I'm really hopeful.
Thank you, sir, for your words. Professor Ankita, your take on it?
Yeah. So I would like to just talk about that. This particular session was wonderful. I think Sonal had given a very good insights. So we really like that. And just the thing is that how to deal with the large amount of databases, the large amount of data that we have, how to perform analysis on that using the databases, visualization tools, right? So about that, we have seen also in my session also we have gone through that. So thank you everyone.
All right, so we come to the end of this meetup. First of all, I would like to thank all the fantastic panelists for being here and giving your expert opinion on each of the expertise that you had. A great thanks to all the participants, because without you, this event would have not been possible. And I'm sure this event proved quite beneficial to all the participants present here, and in future also we would be coming up with such meetups and series with different topics and implementation of AI and data science into various other domains. So with that, I would like to take this opportunity to thank you to each and everybody who had participated, and especially to all our esteemed speakers and the panelists for today.